Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome to Inside the Lions. Today's show is being taped on September 30th. And in this show, we're going to talk about the pink ribbon game that's happening this weekend with Bluffton. We also are going to have Jake Davis, and Vince Soriano will be here to join us. And as always, I'm joined here by my co-host, Jillian Huber, and also the head coach of College of Mount St. Joseph, Rod Huber.
Thank you, Dan.
Guys, thanks for joining us. And Rod, you for your second game of the season, you go on the road, or third game, you go on the road again. You got a young team, and you played a good team, and more importantly, you had a league game, and you come out with a victory of 45-38.
Yeah, well, like that, Rose-Hulman was the team that I picked in the preseason poll to win the conference. They had a strong offense back. Quarterback's a legitimate baseball prospect for the Major League Baseball. They had their preseason All-American tight end back. They had another graduate student at wide receiver, and they had their offensive line back. So I tabbed them as the preseason favorite to win the conference, and I told the kids that going up there. If you want to win the conference, you got to beat these guys. On the road, a lot of adversity, huge crowd, homecoming game, and again, we're still a young team, and we're trying to find out who we are. But I like the way we finished. We didn't start strong, but we hung in there and kept made a run before the half and kept it close in the third quarter and was strong enough to finish up in the fourth quarter and beat a very good team on the road.
You had a huge game for your offense. You had 275 yards on the ground, and you were led. Noah Joseph, I believe, had 87 yards, and he also had 3 touchdowns, and he also had Jake Davis, I believe, he had 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. So you got to be pretty happy with the running backs.
Well, we said going up there. Now, that was something that we concentrated on for 2 weeks. We had the bye week, so we had 2 weeks to get ready for Rose-Hulman. But I know we put a lot of stock in the run game. We said we wanted to keep their offense off the field, and we wanted to control the line of scrimmage and beat that clock up and wear that clock out and keep moving the ball consistently. And it showed. I think we had the ball for 35 minutes of the game, and that's a big deal in college football to control the line of scrimmage and run the ball. But absolutely, I was ecstatic with the way we ran the ball, took care of the ball, and if I'm not mistaken, we only had 1 turnover, and they had 3. So, we won the turnover battle. We ran the ball better than they did, and in the end, the team that runs the ball in college football usually wins.
Coach, you had another solid performance from your quarterback, Craig Mustard. He was 10 for 20 with 263 yards this week. You have to be pleasantly surprised with his performance the past 3 games. I mean, you're 3-0 with a new quarterback.
Yeah, well, we mentioned that last time, Jill. Craig's been out of football for 4 years. He hasn't thrown a football in a college football game ever. This is his first opportunity to play college football. So without a doubt, he's the kid that is getting better on a weekly basis. They're doing a great job of, the first couple weeks. Coach Soriano didn't give him too much to concentrate on, just let him get a feel for the flow of the game, and he's done that very, very well. But he's starting to feel what he can and what he can't do. He does a tremendous job with our short passing game. Everyone knows he can throw the long ball, but if you look at a couple of the big plays that we had, they were short screens. And that's important to Craig. Holds onto the ball to the last second and feels the rush on him and then drops it off. And we've worked extremely hard on the screenplay. And Craig's getting better every week. And that's good to see. Like I said, the kid's waited his turn. He's been out of football for a few years, and it's nice to see him having some success.
Sure. When you guys get 278 yards, total of 541 offense, that's a big reflection of how your offensive line's doing as far as letting the rush go, letting Jake and Noah allowing some lanes for them.
Jake will be in a minute, and I think he'll tell you that. Our offensive line has gotten a whole lot better in the last 5 weeks. We came to training camp, and they were a big question mark. There's a couple sophomores up there, and you got Anthony Walsh and Chris Harrison, both seniors leading the way. But other than those 2 seniors, we play 5 or 6 sophomores and freshmen on the offensive line. So pleasantly pleased, yes. Are we there yet? No. But if there's one area that we've definitely improved on, Dick Knox and Coach Dahl have done a great job with our offensive line.
On the defensive side of the ball, we had someone that I am not familiar with too much, but Ben Parr from, I think, Newport Central Catholic. Well, I think he led your team with 8 tackles, so it was nice to have somebody else that's a newer name or whatever that you want to call it. Tell me how you felt about this point.
That's a good point, and here's how that works. Ben Parr did not start the game. Our starting corner had got a little bit of food poisoning. The other corner dehydrated, and Ben Parr stepped in, as did the other corner. both corners were out of the game by halftime. Ben Parr and Jarek Boykin out of Glen Estee High School both came in before the half there and took over. And I'd be honest with you, I didn't know he had that many tackles, but I know he had a heck of a game for a freshman from Newport Catholic High School. But that's where our program is now. We're trying to develop 2 and 3 deep at every position, and it was, it was exciting for me as the head coach to see that, hey, we just lost 2 number 1 guys at corner, big positions in college football, and we bring in a freshman and a sophomore, and they both step up their game. They both cover very, very, very well. They both made tremendous plays on the edge several times, and here's how it works. They did such a good job. They've earned more playing time this week, so they're being mixed in with the number 1s and the number 2s. They're going to get more opportunities this week against Bluffton. But I'd like to think that's how our program is. When a guy gets hurt, we don't lose a beat. We put the next guy in, and he gets the job done, and we just keep rolling.
Defensively also, you guys gave up 21 points in that first quarter. Woo. But then after that, you guys kind of buckled down. You gave up 17 after that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to, they came up big when you needed to. Yeah. I mean, in that second half.
Well, we were ambushed. I mean, we came out there. The offense went right down the field and played very, very well. Came back and made a little bit of a defensive stand. And the next thing you know, they put a drive together and popped up 7. And then we did a nice job on the offense again, punted it down there to inside the 20 for them, and they break a 70-yard run. Well, so it's 21-7 there, and here's what I like about it. And Coach Sirianni and I talked about it. Nobody panicked. Our coaches didn't panic. Our players didn't panic. We know we got a decent football team at Mount St. Joseph this year. We needed to settle in. We need to get back on the field with the offense, take care of the ball, keep their offense off the field, which was the game plan, and let our defense get their act together. And that's kind of what happened. I like I said, nobody panicked. We went back out there. The offense, Jake made a huge play on a screen play. I think it was a 70-yard screen play. Now it's 21-14. The defense came out and started playing, settling in. Like I said, we had a couple of kids that just weren't playing good, and made a few substitutions right there on the spot. Other guys step in, made some plays, and next thing you know, we got a 10-point lead at halftime.
You mentioned some other guys stepping up to play, Ben Parr and Jarek Boykin.
Yep.
Also, Alex Harbin and
Yep.
Mark Grisham, made some big plays receiving or recovering some fumbles.
Yeah, Mark Grisham was on special teams, and that was something we harped on all week. Kickoff team has not done a great job this year. They're getting better, but we send the kickoff team down there, and they smoke their kickoff return team. Ball pops out. Senior Mark Grisham makes a play, and then Harbin, he's a big playmaker. We expect big plays out of Alex, and he's in the backfield 2 or 3 times in the second quarter. In the third quarter, had a couple big hits in the backfield and had a big sack right there in the third quarter. So yeah, game-changing plays are what kids like that should be about. And it's nice to see a guy like Mark, who's been around for 4 years, never been a starter, but go down on special teams and make a huge play.
And Rose Hillman had a pretty great game coming from 3 guys: the quarterback, the running back Kyle Kovich, and the wide receiver Thomas Reeves. Yeah. It was amazing you guys hung on. Looking at those statistics, I mean.
Well, they like you said, that was their guys. I mean, the Reeves kid is a 5th-year senior. The quarterback is a big-time quarterback, all-conference quarterback, and the Kovich kid, the tailback, is very, very fast. So it was nice to see our defense. Again, we didn't stop them, but we slowed them down, and we kept giving our offense the ball, and our offense kept driving with the ball. And we're still feeling out on who can do what on the defensive side of the ball. But it was nice to see the defense get out there and slow them down in the end of the second quarter, slow them down in the third quarter, and allow our offense to keep rolling and putting points on the board. And again, special teams took a step this week. So a good win, overall team win. We called it a we win. For us to win that game, it had to be everybody all in with both feet, and it was a we win without a doubt. Offense, defense, and special teams all were major contributors in that win.
All right, as promised, we're here with one of Anderson's finest 2007 graduate, Mr. Jake Davis. You're a 3-year varsity starter, running back for College Mount St. Joseph. I just want to talk to you a little bit about Vince Soriano, who's also here with us today. He was your high school coach.
Sure was.
How was it? He accepted the job in January, coming to the College of Mount St. Joseph and as offensive coordinator. How was it for you being recruited by your former high school coach to go play college ball?
I mean, that was one of my key determining factors coming here. I knew the offense coming in. I knew the coach real well. And then as soon as your dad, Coach Hubie, started calling me, I knew right away that was the school I wanted to go to. I was real comfortable, real close to home. And knowing Coach Soriano so well was one of the key factors that had me coming here. It was a definite right away.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I'm sure you are extremely familiar. I mean, and then just probably comfortable, with his coaching philosophies and styles. You knew what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly. I mean, I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. I knew his coaching style, his coaching philosophies. I knew how I would fit in right away. So,
Sure.
I mean, it was just a comfortable fit.
Good. And prior to coming to the College of Mount St. Joseph, there was the Athlete of the Decade, Mike Lovell.
Yes.
He was leading the offense. He was your position, running back. How was it, having to step up, and kind of fill those shoes? I mean, how difficult was that for you?
I mean, it was extremely difficult. I knew that coming to this school, I was having some huge shoes to fill. I knew that coming in, Mike was the face of Mount St. Joseph
Sure.
football. I mean, he was the whole offense. I came to a couple games, and he literally had, 48 touches a game, and I was like, wow. Coming in here, having a strong running game like that, that's the type of program I want to be in. I want to be just like Mike Lovell. I want to, carry his legacy. He kind of showed me the way, and now I'm just trying to carry on his legacy.
Oh, yeah. And so what's the secret behind the success at the College of Mount St. Joseph? I mean, you guys had 3 big wins, and your biggest being last weekend at Rose Holman. I mean, that was tough, going there, playing on their homecoming and, taking over, beating them. What's the key to success?
We knew going into that game that we were going to be the underdogs, that we were going to be the ones that, had to bust up the party. The key to success, I don't know, really. I mean, there's a whole multitude of things. Our O-line played up huge that game,
Yeah.
and I attribute all my success to the O-line, the wide receivers, the blocking. It was a team win, and I think that's really what we knew that was going to have to happen. Everybody rolling on all cylinders.
Yeah, Coach mentioned before that was definitely a we win for you guys.
Definitely, it wasn't an I win. It was a whole team win.
Oh yeah, and it showed too. You guys all performed extremely well and worked together, worked as a team, offense and defense combined. It was a big win for you guys.
Great win.
There's a home game this weekend against Bluffton. What are the expectations of the offense? What is it going to take to get you guys that win and make your record 4-0?
We want to start off exactly where we left off last week. We want to just keep rolling with the punches, see what we can get early on. We're going to take some chances, and then from there, just pound the rock.
There you go. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Jake, and
Thanks for
it was
having
great
me.
to talk to you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
I'm Dan Albers, and we're back here with Vince Soriano, who you've never been in this new studio. You didn't have the privilege of being here, so it's welcome back here to Anderson Community Television.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Let's get a little bit. We're going to go into some highlights first. We're going to see some highlights of Jake. Okay, here we go. We got some highlights of Jake, and Coach, it's got to be a thrill for you to have one of your former players not only at Anderson but at Mount St. Joe.
Absolutely. And Jake was a great player for us at Anderson High School, and now he's a great player for us at the College of Mount St. Joe. Here he is running a draw, breaking it to the outside. We've worked really hard on our screen and draw game to help us on our 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and it's paid off for us. And here we're running what we call a slip screen, where our wide receivers are cracking, and we caught them in man-to-man, which we hoped we would do, because that screen is set up for man-to-man coverage. And once we got the ball out to the perimeter, there really weren't a lot of defenders there, and the offensive lineman did a great job of cutting. And Craig Mustard does a nice job of holding the ball to the last second. You can see that they've only got 2 defenders out there, and Jake's off to the races. But that worked out exactly how we hoped it would.
And like Vince said, he's been working that offense for weeks on that screen, and it's nice to see it come to fruition and have a lot of success with it here.
Here we're running a cutback zone, and we had our backs against the wall there, and basically what we were trying to do is get that ball out of there and make sure if we had a punt, we had some room. But we've been using some double tight end Baltimore Ravens sets. Not always good to say in Bengal country, but that's where we got it, and it's paid off in huge dividends for us. People are having a very difficult time defending that.
Is this the beginning of the?
No, you're good. You're still rolling here.
And then we come back and we go to a screen to the weak side. This is a different screen than one that we ran earlier. It's just blocked differently, and it's more for zone type coverage. And we threw it into the weak side, and again, our guys did a great job of getting it blocked downfield.
And it's kind of weird. The Anderson people, I'm sure, out there seeing Jake in a different color uniform. Used to seeing and hearing about him.
He still runs the same, though. He's low to the ground. He's got a great center of gravity, and he's strong. I mean, you see a kid breaking 3 or 4 tackles up the field there.
Don't know what we got here, Jake. Sure, it's the Jake Davis highlight reel here.
Absolutely. I think we had 6 or 8 clips on this tape with him.
Yeah, here we come back with our zone play, and Jake cuts it back. We've limited our offense a little bit this year in terms of the running game, and we think our offensive linemen are becoming really comfortable with what we're doing. You can see the hole on the backside that Jake cuts it back. We are looking for that cutback lane, and they're doing a real good job with the plays that we are giving them.
You know, and again, it's the offensive line does a nice job for Jake to get some of those holes.
Oh, absolutely. This was by far their best game, and they've been getting better each week. You could see we got into a little bunch set there, and then we come back and run a counter with our fullback leading up through. Jake breaks some tackles here and puts us in good position. Unfortunately, on that play, we got a penalty, so we had that one called back. I think that right there would have iced the game for us. You can see how the counter steps that Jake took there. See, there's where he's strong. You cannot tackle him high.
Right.
And, if you looked at that, we'd have been in 4-down territory there and probably could have ran
That's
out
the end of the
clock.
highlight clips right there, Dan.
Okay. Okay, Vince, there's some great highlights there, obviously, of Jake Davis. And, obviously all the people here at Anderson High School in the Anderson area remember you, obviously, for all the things that you've done at Anderson. And talk a little bit about how hard it was for you to leave Anderson to go to the College of Mount St. Joseph.
Well, it was I don't know if it was a difficult decision as it was just my heart was in here with the Anderson High School and all those teams, but Coach Huber gave me that opportunity to go over and coach in college football, and it was just the right setting for me at the right place and the right time with the right people. And I knew eventually, obviously, I wasn't going to coach high school football forever, and the opportunity presented itself, and I just thought, if I was going to make that move to go over and coach with Coach Huber and those people, it was the time to do it. And was it hard? Absolutely, because of my love for Anderson High School and those players. But life moves on, and everybody is faced with changes in their life, and I was, and we just go with it, and I'm having a great time coaching over there.
Well, I'll be honest. I guess it was harder for old players like myself and everybody else because we were afraid. We didn't know what was going to happen, who was going to be the next coach. So I think it was a little bit harder for some of us, but I'm glad it's worked out for you, and it's obviously worked out for Jeff as well.
Sure, it was a smooth transition.
What has been the hardest adjustment for you going from the high school game to the college game?
Coach Huber and I have talked about that a lot. First of all, it's the length of the game. It is actually 1 quarter longer than a high school football game when you add it all up. So, and therefore, that means that your game plan has to be a little larger. It has to have more plays on it because you are getting more snaps. I think the other thing is all the players that you coach against and have to coach are good players. Where in high school, it's not always like that, not to take anything away from high school kids, but there's sometimes when there are guys out on a field in high school that really aren't ready to play high school football. They're out there maybe because of an injury or they don't have very many players on their team. But in college, every kid was a starter and every kid was a good player. And even the teams that we play that do not have good records still have good players. And it's just they don't have enough of them. And the other thing is when you coach in high school, coaches are not working on football all day because they are teaching classes, but in college, you have all day to prepare and to plan, and the adjustments that the coaches make in the games are much quicker than what you're used to at a high school level. And if you show a certain formation and a certain play 1 week, you can bet your life the next week when you go to run that play out of that formation, they know exactly what's coming. And so you always have to be moving with what you're doing, and you've got to try to stay ahead of what the defensive coordinators are doing to try to defend you.
Yeah, and we saw obviously Jake Davis there with some of his highlights, and you do have some former Anderson players. Does that make it a little bit easier for you, maybe for some of the guys that might not have known the offense, for those guys to help, or does that have any influence at all? Or?
Dan, it did the first year because we were in transition, but after the first year, the rest of the kids caught up to the offense, and they're comfortable with it. But let me say this: it is not exactly the same offense that I ran at Anderson. It has really evolved, and we've gone in a direction that I felt that we needed for the type of players that we have at Mount St. Joe, and for what the problems that the defenses have presented us. I was always known as a spread coach that mixed in the eye, and that's what we were known for. Where now I think our offense is really an NFL-style offense, and if you look at an NFL game, then come watch our game, you're going to see the same formations, the same plays, the same passes, and I really think we're ahead of the curve in that nature there. And I always told Rod when I was a high school coach, I spent a lot of time studying college offenses to try to keep us ahead of the game. And now that I'm a college coach, now I study the pro offenses and meet with those people to try to stay ahead of everything.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about the process of getting Coach Soriano to come to Mount
Hey,
St.
it was a long process. Vince won't talk about this, but I will. I offered Vince a job 3 years before he took the job. We had an opening 3 years before he started with me, and it just wasn't the right time. And then a year later, I kind of called him a couple times and see how he felt. And so three's a charm, if you will. It took me 3 offers to get Coach Soriano to come on. But I knew what I wanted as a head coach at Mount St. Joseph. I wanted a full-time offensive coordinator who was known for innovation, studying, preparing. And I knew I had the guy right there on the east side of Cincinnati. If I could get him to what we call a double dip. Retire from high school and come over here. I don't pay him a whole bunch of money, but he had an opportunity to improve his family situation, do something that he had been thinking about for several years. Coach, Coach is very humble. This was a tough decision for him. And I know that, and I feel fortunate and blessed that he did come our way, and and everything that he brought with him. Vince loves football. I tell people all the time, no one will out prepare Vince Soriano. If you beat us, you're better than us, not because he didn't have his kids ready to play.
And Vince, we've Ellis and I have been talking, and over the first couple games, we've obviously only been there for the one, but it looked like you guys have improved. Not that you were bad last year, but you've improved offensively, and I think that you guys are putting yourselves in a position on third down. It's not third and long or third. You know what I mean? It's 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Do you agree that they've improved a lot?
Absolutely. I looked at last year's stats, and the amount of times that we were in 2nd and long and 3rd and long was just astronomical. And that was because we weren't generating anything on 1st down, and we couldn't run the ball as well as we wanted to, and we were always behind the 8 ball. And this year we're able to throw when we want to throw, and we're making things happen on 1st down and 2nd and medium to put us in those 3rd and short and 3rd and medium situations. And I think that's one of the keys to our success is now the defense has to guess what we're going to do instead of knowing that we probably have to throw.
And don't you? It seems like as a pretty offensive team, they're pretty confident right now.
Right now they are. Rod and I talked about this.
Yeah.
I think when we got into Tuesday's practice that the light bulb really went off because we have had 2 really good practices on Tuesday and Wednesday, and our kids are just, now they finally realize that they're a good football team and can be a great football team if they keep progressing. And now they're really believing in themselves. I'm not so sure they were sure of themselves, at Wilmington. And then in the Lakeland game, they started to get more confidence. But when they went on the road and beat a very, very good team after being behind 21-7 and putting up 541 yards, they really have a lot of confidence in it. They're not overconfident. They just believe in themselves now.
Well, Vince, I really do appreciate you coming back. We're in the new studio and everything. One thing I really need to say is that, Anderson High School football would not be where it is if it wasn't for you. So I as a former player and doing the games with you, I appreciate it as a former player. And I really believe that you need to be either in the Anderson Hall of Fame or the Champions or something like that, because there is no way. I mean, nothing taken away from Jeff, but these guys, it wouldn't be in a position that it is now if it wasn't for you.
Well, I thank you, but over the years I've had great coaches to work with me, and I've had tremendous players, guys that were just quality individuals, and it's never one person. When things go well, it's always a group of people who work together, and that's the key to success.
Well, I really do appreciate it. I know all the former players, my brother included, really appreciates everything you've done.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks. That was Vince Soriano, and we're going to get into the Bluffton game here with Rod and Jill here in a few minutes.
All right, so we're back here with Coach Huber, getting ready to close this show out. Coach, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Bluffton game plan this week. You come back home for a game at Bluffton, and it happens to be a special day at the Mount. We're going to be celebrating breast cancer awareness this month. Can you talk about what's going to be happening this day?
Yeah, a pretty neat concept. Coach Kyle Prosser knows Tracy Metzger, and they have a foundation called the Pink Ribbon Girls Foundation. And they concentrate on helping young women with the awareness, education, and detection of breast cancer. And Coach Prosser is very good friends with a couple of the people at the foundation. And he asked me this summer, hey, Coach, could we, when October hits, could we do a game and maybe create some awareness for the cause? And I couldn't think of nothing better to do than that. The Mount's a former all-women's college. It fits our mission to give a little bit back to the community anytime that we have an opportunity to. There's some, I sent an email to every female student on campus today and encouraged each female student on campus to come over to the game, stop by the Pink Ribbon Girls booth, learn a little bit about how to detect and educate yourself on overcoming breast cancer, detecting breast cancer, whatever we can do to help the cause, though. And we're looking forward to it. The kids are excited about it. I'm wearing a pink shirt. Some of the captains are wearing pink jerseys for warm-ups. And we'll probably be the only team in the country this week wearing pink.
Are you going to be wearing it the whole game?
I'm going to. The players are going to take them off after warm-ups.
And this will be on Anderson Community Television.
Let's
so
do
we
it.
get to see you in a pink
The whole
shirt.
game?
Let's do it. It's my favorite color.
Favorite color. And that's the off-the-field game plan. So let's talk about the on-the-field game plan.
Right.
Bluffton has given up 88 points in the last 2 games, so it looks like they're struggling again. this year. What do you think?
They're young, and Coach Veit's doing a great job up there. He's only been there 2 years. I looked at their roster, and I feel like it was my team 8 or 10 years ago when I took over.
Sure.
A sophomore here, a sophomore there, a freshman here, a freshman there, maybe a junior every now and then pops into the starting lineup. And if there's one thing that we've learned at Mount St. Joe, you can't win with freshmen and sophomores.
Sure.
You can play the games and you can be competitive, but it's so hard to win when you're starting 80% of your players are underclassmen. But they're doing a great job. And I watched the video very closely on Sunday with the coaches, and they got a good team. They just don't have the experience yet, and I hope they don't gain the experience against my team. But I like what the coach is doing up there. They're recruiting very hard. If I'm not mistaken, they brought in 60 new players, and they're taking their lumps right now. But it'll pay off down the road, just like it did for Mount St. Joe football.
Sure.
But I like what they're doing, and we got a lot of respect for Bluffton University.
Good. And I talked to Jake a little bit about what he thinks it's going to take to make your record 4-0 this week. What do you think it's going to take out of your team?
Yeah, well, I know this. It's hard 2 weeks in a row to emotionally get up for two games in a row. We called on the kids last week to play with emotion, passion, and all the things that you can't measure, and they did. And I know that'll be hard to bring that out of them this week. So I'm more focusing on execution and preparation and doing your job.
Okay.
I don't expect the kids to be sky high emotionally coming out for this game, because again, we're 3-0, they're 0-3. But with that said, we can't take nobody lightly. We're still a young
Right.
team ourselves. Bluffton's got some weapons. They got a nice tailback, they got a nice quarterback, and they got some nice linebackers on defense. So, it's going to be we're going to need another big effort out of all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. We can't turn the ball over. That's a no-no at Mount St. Joe. And we can't give up home runs on defense, long passes and long runs. And if our special teams can continue to improve, I think we're going to be okay.
Good.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We've been here for quite a long time here trying to squeeze all this in for you, but we have to really thank a lot of people for this show. And first of all, I want to thank, again, Dane Newmeister for all his help that he has on game day for me. He really helps me out a lot. And also want to thank Shearborn Solutions. They make the set look really nice, as you can see behind us. And Just a phenomenal job that they do. Also, people here at Anderson Community Television, Shane and Andy, always are there to help me out, and I know that they get frustrated with it. So, but I appreciate those guys helping me out. Yes. And also, I want to thank Coach Soriano and Jake Davis for coming tonight, coming out of their busy schedule to help
Anderson's
us out.
own.
Yes, you got to love that. Get
Gotta
the
love
Anderson
it, man.
squeeze. And then, of course, you two guys. Coach Huber and Jillian, you did another great job again tonight. So appreciate you guys taking your time out of your busy schedule to help out as well.
Thanks,
you,
Dan. Great show, and my players look forward to being a part of it. Jake was excited when we asked him to come over, as was Alex Harbin last
yeah.
week. So this is good stuff for us, and we're privileged and feel honored to do it.
And we're eventually, again, I know you guys have been hearing this, beating a dead horse, but we're trying to get the equipment right to try to get the videos up and running on my website. So hopefully we'll have that on there.
Sure.
And we'll send it and hopefully get it to Mount St. Joe's website as well. So we'll get that up and running for everybody to watch these shows after we air them. So again, you can listen to the game this weekend on USBN Sports. We'll have that game on for you. We're going to have a pregame show. We'll also, if Jill gets some interviews done for me, we'll have some interviews from some of the players on, and we'll do hers at halftime, and we'll have the pregame show on, before the game. We'll have actually this show that we do on before the game. So, and we love the emails. We had them from Afghanistan a while ago, so we appreciate that. So we look forward to everybody listening in, and we appreciate everybody watching. So for Dan Albers, Jillian Huber, and Rod Huber, you've been watching Inside the Lions on Anderson Community Television.